Joining me now, Democratic Representative Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. He's assistant whip in the House and a member of the Oversight and Intelligence Committee. And as such, Congressman, you had much opportunity to see documents and listen to testimony around the things that Rudy Giuliani was doing in Ukraine at the behest, we're not clear, of Donald Trump or Ukrainians who thought that Marie Yovanovitch was interfering in their work.
That's right. Good morning, Ali. Thank you so much for having me. This case is very important. It really goes to the question of whether undisclosed foreign agents should be able to control U.S. policy. And in this case, the undisclosed foreign agent was potentially Rudy Giuliani, the president's lawyer. And basically, what's really at the heart of this particular investigation is whether he essentially successfully orchestrated the removal of a very distinguished ambassador, Marie Yovanovitch, in return for potentially money as well as dirt on the Bidens from corrupt Ukrainian officials.
Rudy Giuliani likes to claim that he was noodling around on his own, and then when pressed, he said he was there at the behest of Donald Trump. The question you asked in October of 2020, you said, why does Rudy Giuliani have access to the highest levels of government to be able to peddle this disinformation repeatedly? He continued to receive bad information, disinformation. He spread it around. Ron Johnson was spreading it around. And they apparently were warned by the FBI that they are being targeted for this, that they are being targeted as people who can disseminate information that is favorable to Russians as it related to Ukraine.
That's right. And I think there are two reasons why this is important. First of all, the FBI warned Rudy Giuliani that the information that he was peddling from very suspect individuals such as Andrei Derkach, a Russian-Ukrainian agent, and others was to basically get him to stop. And then secondly, to observe how he behaved after being warned. Did he continue to peddle the information even knowing that it was false? If so, was he doing it again at the behest of foreign principals? So this is all kind of part of a piece where, Rudy Giuliani may not be acting in the best interests of Donald Trump or the American people, but instead on the in the best interests of his foreign principals, Ukrainians, and maybe even Ukrainian-Russian interests.
What's your sense, given all that you've studied about this, that when you start pulling on this thread, where does it lead?
Well, unfortunately, Rudy Giuliani was at the center of what I said during the impeachment hearings was almost a shadow government, where he was the president's lawyer, but he was directing a lot of policy, including in Ukraine and other places, at the behest of foreign entities and foreign clients and so forth. And not only that, but he's also at the center of a lot of other issues related to Donald Trump. Remember, there are ongoing investigations of Donald Trump in New York related to tax fraud. There are investigations of him related to money laundering in Deutsche Bank. And of course, we have to be concerned about the counterintelligence implications of Rudy Giuliani. What did he receive from the Russians? What did he tell them? And what do they know about him that we don't know? Or what did he say that might not be true about what they told him? So this is all a very complicated web. And we have to get to the bottom of what happened.
Congressman, you are from India, and we are watching this this COVID wave wash over India and really decimate things, including the medical system over there. What's your view of what the United States should be doing right now?
Well, I think the U.S. is off to a start. I called on the U.S. to share vaccines, especially from our unused AstraZeneca stockpile of 60 million doses that we are not going to use for our vaccine effort. I asked that it be shared not only with India, but other hard-hit countries. I'm glad that the White House agreed and announced that they were going to do so, but they have yet to do so. And they said it's going to undergo a safety review. But but we know that these are safe and effective vaccines. We know that India and other countries have already approved them for use as part of their vaccination programs. We should rush these vaccines abroad ASAP. And the other thing that we should do is we should waive certain intellectual property rights related to the licensing of vaccines and the production of them in other countries, including in South Africa, India, and elsewhere. We have to recognize that COVID fires are raging abroad, Ali, and not only should we, out of a sense of morality, compassion, humanity, and love, help these people in other countries, but we have to do it in our best interest, because if we don't help put out those fires, they're going to come here to burn us as well.
Yep. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks for being with us this morning. Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi of Illinois.